Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Oh, God.
It's time.
Oh,
Mummy spoiler.
Why? This movie's already taking more time out of my goddamn life.
I don't even know if we'd be doing it if we hadn't hit the $1,000 tier.
No. Maybe that $1,000 tier wasn't a good idea.
For Patreon, yeah. I feel like we're indentured servants now. We kind of have to do it.
Oh, I gotta go see this bag of shit movie. Oh, folks, this is Spoiler Rep 56. My name is Graham Elwood.
And I'm Chris Mancini, and we will be talking about this film. For those of you that are new to the Spoiler Reps, we'll be talking about the beginning, middle, and end, not necessarily in that order. So if you haven't seen the movie, good for you.
Good for you. Thank you. Can you give yourself a pat on the back?
This episode may even be more fun if you haven't seen the film.
But if for some reason you don't want it ruined for you,
then don't see it.
Then don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And because we're going to talk about, that's what the spoiler reps are. We talk about the ending, key plot points. So if you haven't seen it, those are going to be
I felt like
revealed.
I was that sarcophagus strapped down to the plane.
I was like, I'm watching this goddamn movie, and I'm like, did they take like an early draft of Sahara with Matt McConaughey and Steve Zahn, or like what?
What search and replace?
Oh my God!
Something happened. There was it was cobbled together. These bits and pieces of different movies cobbled together, and then other movies like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde shoved in the middle for no reason at all. And this movie was just a mess from start to finish.
I think Jake Johnson's funny. You know, I've seen him do some funny stuff. But dear Lord, when him and Tom Cruise are just quipping their way through the Middle East, and it's this first, it starts out as this like madcap, zany romp.
Yeah. Oh no, it's
in a war.
Yeah.
Trying to get.
It's Ishtar.
It was Ishtar. It was like if he took Ishtar and Sahara.
Yeah.
And outtakes from Mummy 5 with Brendan Fraser or whatever. Like what?
Yeah, I don't know what was going on. And then it's Tom Cruise. They're not going to shoot him. So it already starts off like, well, there's nothing I'm believing here. But let's get to the ending. We have to talk about the ending for a minute. Now,
I'm amazed
at the end,
I was awake.
I
was in comfortable seats. I was amazed I made it through this movie.
So Tom Cruise gets superpowers at the end.
Right.
And after he realizes that, like, oh, wait, well, the mummy's trying to stab me with a dagger. No, wait, that gives me superpowers. Maybe I'll just do it myself. What do I need you for? So he just stabs himself with a dagger, gets superpowers, brings his friend back to life, and then
his friend from American Werewolf in London?
Yeah, his friend from American Werewolf in London, yeah. That, and then... they start with like the same dialogue that they start the movie with, oh, well, where's your sense of adventure? Like thanks for bringing me back to life, but now we're going to do something dangerous. Like, well, what do you care? He has superpowers. They'll just bring you back to life again if you die. It doesn't matter.
Hey, asshole, you were a zombie a minute ago.
Yeah.
Like, what are you complaining about?
Yeah, things are better now. Follow your superpowered friend.
Oh, God.
That Dr. Jekyll lost. And
how did this movie not have a "I'm getting too old for this shit" line as they jump across a thing into a thing?
Maybe there was somebody that went, you know what? We need to take that line out.
That was the one level head on the set.
Yeah. It was like, we got quality here. We can't make it that much of a mess. But it was everything. Okay, well now, everything from the mummies making zombies to only two people with flashlights looking for a sarcophagus worth millions and millions of dollars.
At which time were there only two people looking for something really important? When they crashed in England, or when the things blew up in Iraq?
Or the archaeological dig where it's like, oh, this is a giant find. Like, we'll just send a couple people down with ropes
in the middle of
a war zone.
Of a war zone.
Yeah, antiquities. They're worth a lot of money.
And we're not gonna.
Yes.
No one's going to check to see if they're booby trapped. No one's going to check to see.
And apparently Tom Cruise has no commanding officer.
No.
No. He's a scout / special ops / no uniform / thief / relic hunter. So I really feel like Tom Cruise, like every time he got a draft of the script, I think he probably went, well, I should do this or I should say this. And then there was like another line or two added.
Right. He just went, I just want this to be like Mission Impossible.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm just
with a mummy.
Mummy, as we said. The joke was immediately made. Mummy Impossible. Yes. That's what this is.
Yep.
There's no jurisdiction. There's no actual anything.
And this movie, it went all these different directions, all over the map. At some point, even it tried to make the mummy a sympathetic character.
Right.
Like it was like she made like a puppy dog eyes at some point while she was chained up in Dr. Jekyll's basement. And, and like, oh, we should feel sorry for her. She was just trying to give her lover eternal life with the dagger that she was going to plunge into his chest. Oh, this dagger? Well, I don't want you to stab me with it. No, it'll give you eternal life. Wait, it gives me superpowers? All right, I'll just do it myself then.
Wait, well, the dagger's not powerful unless it has the
jewel at the top,
attached
yeah.
to the top. Oh, but
Yeah.
the jewel you can just crush.
Yeah.
You can just smash it?
Yeah, so and and it attaches right away, and then it comes off right away, and there's a magic dagger, and any rule that was established gets broken like in the next scene. Like every writer on this movie got to write one scene.
Yeah.
And then they just put it all together.
So I guess Sophia Boutella plays the mummy, and she's the only part that was like believable.
Right,
'Cause
yeah, the mummy.
I was like, yeah, the mummy. And I was like, oh, and it was like, oh, this is interesting. She's a, her backstory was like kind of interesting. Like,
Yeah.
oh, she craved power, and then they mummified her. And
Well, because she did kill her father and
Yeah.
and a
his
baby.
baby.
Yeah.
So she's evil.
Yeah, and it's like, but she made puppy dog eyes.
But she made puppy dog eyes.
Yeah, well, maybe she's sympathetic now.
Because
we should feel bad for her.
They didn't give her a bunch of horrifying, dumb, nonsensical dialogue. It was like, well, she's just being a mummy in every scene. She's
Right.
being the evil mummy that's trying to get back into power
Mm-hmm.
and bring back,
A sandstorm.
yeah, Ragnarok or whoever the guy is that we got. She's trying to
Johnny Ragnarok.
Johnny Ragnarok, Captain Evil Guy. That if she stabs this dude, then he comes back in her body.
Oh, and that's the other thing too. Is like,
fuck?
well, okay.
Damn it! This movie makes no sense.
If I stab you with this dagger, but it has to have the jewel on top, then Set gets to inhabit your body, the god of death. Okay, great.
Right.
But
Got it.
now, but if Tom Cruise stabs himself with it, he gets all the power, but he still gets his consciousness. So, okay, well, so it didn't work. It wasn't.
Yeah. So what
right.
happened to Set?
Yeah, what happened? Did Set not make it into Tom Cruise's body because his eyeballs didn't?
He didn't hold the knife
yeah,
right.
Yeah, he
Whatever.
did, I know. Yeah,
He
that
put
was
the jewel in wrong.
that was the sign that it was evil too. It was like the eyeballs went into two eyeballs. They split.
Yeah. I can't even.
Great special effects.
And then, all right, so then all of a sudden they're on a plane in Iraq, and then
Bunch of crows show up.
a bunch of crows show up, and suddenly they're in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now they're flying into England, and then they crash, and there's
Nobody looking for the wreckage.
nobody looking for. There's like two bumbling cops
Right.
that are fumbling around the wreckage,
Mhm.
like
Looking for a billion-dollar sarcophagus.
$1 billion sarcophagus from this. Again, this is a military aircraft
Right.
crashing in civilian land.
Right.
The-
An American one.
An American one. yeah. Okay. So let's back up a touch here. So an American military plane crashes in England,
Yeah.
and just like two bobbies show
Yeah.
up and like, hello, mate.
You got the torch. Look what I found. I found Mummy.
Hello, mate. Is your light stick clicking? Like, what? No one uses these terms. And then
Uh-oh, it's sucking my life out, it is.
cheerio, it's like a chimney sweeper taking me mortal soul into the Netherlands.
Oh, now I'm cursed.
Oh, great. That's a...
That's a real kick in the old bollocks.
Come on, now fetch me a pint. So these two Charles Dickens characters are fumbling around the English countryside. Now, this is like a C-130, so it takes up a couple of football fields worth of wreckage.
Sure. Mhm.
Again, just two guys
Right,
searching it
right.
out. They don't immediately have helicopters dispatched.
No.
There's a good 15, 20 minutes where they're running around and, hey, it's a sarcophagus. Well, it's just making a weird noise. It is, you know,
Yes.
like none of these
Right.
guys go, when you see burnt bodies, so again, these are cops, none of them go, well, we should probably get a CSI unit in here,
Right,
whatever.
no,
I mean,
no.
maybe they don't have that in England. Hello, mate, we don't carry guns. Why would we get forensic evidence?
Maybe they were just plane technicians. They weren't cops. They were just
just soccer hooligans.
Yeah.
Sorry, football hooligans.
Yes.
I'm correct. We were in the UK.
So-
Yeah, it's that scene alone. I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, and just every scene, just I don't know, something about Russell Crowe, who I love. He
Sure.
made me angry in this movie. It was so ham-handed, and so he, in a movie that had horrible acting in it, I think he might have had the worst acting in the movie. Like everything, he was over the top as Dr. Jekyll, even more so than when he was Mr. Hyde.
Oh yeah, Jekyll was more over the top
Yeah.
than Hyde. I was
Yeah.
like, and in my head, I was like, wait, he's
And Hyde's trying to make a deal. I'm like, well, maybe Hyde's making more sense.
I thought Hyde was the crazy one.
Yeah,
Wasn't he?
yeah,
Wasn't he?
yeah. That sounds like I don't. So okay, so none of the source material's been read.
By anyone.
None of the classic source material's been read.
It'd be like if you watched all those black and white movies on late night TV when you were a kid,
right.
and that was the last time
You'd ever seen
them,
yeah.
and then you were given the job of putting this movie together, and you went,
Right.
I kind of remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is what happened. I think his name was Edward Hyde. Now, if you look at like a series like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the Alan Moore comic book series, there was such a care and a craft of detail to all these characters, everything from the Invisible Man to Mina Harker, who was, attacked by Dracula, and to Edward Hyde. There was a reinterpretation of these characters, but also there was a care of like, these are who these characters are. Clearly, I've read and am familiar with not only the old films, but the source material, actual classic books that accompanied them. Not so here.
Oh, God.
There's no, Bram Stoker is rolling over in his grave twice just because there was a vampire skull in that movie.
Well, if he gets the sword with the jewel, he's going to come back to
Yes.
life and put Set inside of the executives that made this goddamn thing. They're trying we've talked about this, like they're trying so hard to, Universal's like, we want our own universe. We want one too, just like Marvel. So they create this dumb thing, and it's like nobody's giving a shit.
No,
one's like, oh, right. So whenever, and it's so dumb.
Now, who are they going to fight when the Mummy and Dracula and Frankenstein team up? Who are they going to fight? The werewolf?
Who are they going to fight? And they keep
The Monster Squad.
the
They're
monster
going
squad.
to fight the monster
great.
squad.
but they introduce stuff, and it's so funny. They were hoping for the first time in one of the extra things in a Marvel movie was like, oh shit, there's Nick Fury or whatever. Those little things that
Right.
Marvel is so good at. They
Yeah.
put those little things in there that super nerds go, oh, that's fucking awesome.
Right.
So in this movie, the Book of Amun-Ra from the previous movie franchise, the Brendan Fraser one, is briefly seen falling down on the floor during a fight sequence. Did anyone see that or give a shit? Aaron researched that. That's the only reason I know about it, because I was watching this dumb
Let
goddamn
me
movie.
put it this way. I noticed it. I didn't give a shit.
Did you care? Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, the Amun-Ra book.
No. I was, because that movie, like, there was nothing compelling about the movie that made me invested in it. So I didn't care about the forced in Easter eggs that were shoved into the movie, because everything was shoved into the movie. There was no movie. Everything was so forced into the movie that there was nothing left of the movie. So it wasn't a horror movie. I mean, when you look at a mummy movie, like I would love to see Clive Barker's mummy movie. Oh my God, you know how creepy and disturbing that would have been.
Right.
This was a Tom Cruise action movie with a mummy in it,
But with no plot or story
No.
or anything or character arc or like.
and
first
one
of all,
one
who
or
was-
two horror scenes, and then that was it.
So then, oh God, all of the fucking horrifying witty banter with the blonde doctor lady.
Oh yeah, the model doctor.
Yeah, Jenny Halsey, model doctor, runway doctor, played by Annabelle Wallis. That was just so. It was like all of this forced.
Did you even suspect that she worked for the secret organization?
Oh,
that Dr.
I had
Jekyll
no
ran?
idea.
Yeah, I know. It was such a surprise.
Such a surprise that she works for the secret organization that Dr. Jekyll runs.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Why does he run it?
Right. Exactly.
He runs the monster CIA?
Yeah, he.
What the fuck is
He
that
has. He
for?
runs the Monster Squad. Yeah, with a
that-
militia. He had his own militia. He had more people in his militia than they were looking for the plane.
I know. Why wasn't his monster team down there?
Right. Exactly. They would have found the sarcophagus quicker.
Oh my God. It's like MI6. Is that what it is? Monster Institute 6? Instead, they're just like.
MI7.
So the beginning of the movie, they show Dr. Jekyll. We don't know he's Dr. Jekyll yet, but he's setting up. So the beginning of the movie when they they're drilling through new sewers or subways or something like that
Right.
in London.
They find a knight's crypt.
They find a knight's crypt, and there's okay, here we go, and that might have something in it. And then at that point, I was like, all right, well, this all right. Here we go. This is interesting. And then we see Tom Cruise's crypt and all that. Like, why is there an Egyptian crypt in Mesopotamia? I was like, oh, interesting.
Okay.
Cool. So they established that there's a secret,
Mummy history.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a mummy history, but they established that there's a secret mummy police.
Right,
There's mummy
right.
CIA, right? There's monster CIA, as we said. The mummy.
That carries mercury with them.
Sure, they always have a fresh batch of hot mercury to throw around. I was like, okay, cool. And they're trying to, they're the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., basically, right? That's what they are. They're trying to save the world because they're aware of the bigger...
gods and monsters.
Right. They're aware of the bigger picture and that this isn't just a couple of bad guys. This is a thing that could end humanity. Great. I'm all in. And then we don't see him for how long? And then when he comes back, you're like, oh, wait, he's Dr. fucking Jekyll and Mr. Hyde?
Right.
Who's got it
And then he has to inject himself. And
with
then Tom
blue-
Cruise stops him from injecting him. He's like, oh, well, of course, because if you have Dr. Jekyll, I guess we're going to see Mr. Hyde in this movie, too.
And then we see Mr. Hyde, and then, you shouldn't have done that. Oh, and then here's the serum again. He's back to normal. What was that scene for?
So that was, it was like when Batman versus Superman put the trailers in for the other movies.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that was. It's like, no, look, we could advertise these other movies inside these movies, and no one will notice or care. No, we noticed and we care.
We
Stop.
really care. Yeah. I'm not. That's why I wasn't excited about Wonder Woman is because of that trailer they put into Batman Superman.
Right.
That's why I'm not excited about Aquaman.
Right.
But then when I knew that Black Panther was going to be in Civil War, I was like, awesome. Maybe that means there's going to be a Black Panther movie. We see a trailer, and guess what? It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it looks great.
It's going to be awesome. So this people, I don't know, like, does Universal... My fear is that this dumb universe might make enough money that they keep doing it.
Well, there's definitely more in the pipeline. So I think what'll happen is it'll be like the DC movies. It's like, well, we'll make a couple of them and just see what happens and see how they go. Because they're all looking like long-term. Like, what's the long-term potential income generators? Like, is it the connected universe? Like, everyone seems to think it is. Like, we have to have this connected universe to the point where all these things are being connected that, we don't need them connected. Even like Cloverfield. Like, dude, that originally that script was The Bunker. It had nothing to do with Cloverfield. We don't need everything connected to something else.
It's as you said in the regular episode, Marvel's universe has been written for decades. They have connected these things.
Thousands of stories that have been connected.
Stories.
Yeah.
Every week there's new comic books coming out.
Spider-Man knows about Doctor Strange.
Right.
Yeah, and as, they both live in New York.
Yeah, they've met.
Right.
And comic books in the 70s.
Right.
Like, so this is just so forced. It's just like...
You know what it reminded me of, too? Remember that movie that came out, Aaron, see if you can pull up what year this was, Van Helsing.
Oh, boy.
That was a terrible film that also tried to create Van Helsing, reinvent him as like this monster hunter that fought, all the monsters at once. And I remember Universal sticking like a lot of hope on it as a franchise because not only did they make the movie, they had in development like a TV series, all these different things.
There is a TV series on Sci-Fi.
There was a TV series on Sci-Fi.
And the movie was 2004.
Movie was 2004. Okay.
When was it? Is the Sci-Fi series still going?
2016 to open-ended, like all good parties.
Oh, okay. So, but it took a while for it to. So they probably rebooted it, is what happened.
Well,
They have a
yeah.
female lead as well.
Oh, female. Yeah.
All
So
right,
it's
so
completely different.
Right.
Yeah.
And it also just feels like Sci-Fi Channel, which doesn't have a lot of money, probably got the license rights pretty cheap.
Yeah. Most likely.
And the Van Helsing, whoever owned the
Yeah.
rights to Van Helsing went, yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
And Sci-Fi is also under Universal. It's the same company.
Right.
So you look at like a movie like that and a movie like this where it's you have your hopes pinned on this big franchise opening up all these new movies and avenues, but you forget to make the movie good. That's really what it felt like. It was everything was slapped together with this stupid world building that is not necessary. Like, no, hey, here's an idea. Make a mummy movie. make a mummy movie.
Maybe they're doing it more to compete with the Godzilla King Kong franchise than Marvel. You know what I mean?
It doesn't matter who they're competing with. It's not working.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it really feels like it feels like what you were saying. Let's go. Me too. We want to make a.
Yeah, well, then it's a bowling team that's trying to compete with like an NFL team.
Right. Yeah, and Universal has all these great properties and this great history, and just make them worry about making one movie good than creating this franchise of horrible films.
Well, we've talked about this time and time again. So who did they hire? They hired Alex Kurtzman,
who's awful.
Look who, and we talked about this in the regular episode. Look who they hired for Black Panther, the guy that did Fruitville Station and Creed, an amazing storyteller. Right? Who knows how to direct actors and get great performances and get subtlety out of performances.
Get the right people for the job. Like, Mark Webb, great romantic comedy director, terrible Spider-Man director.
Right.
So, not the right people for the job. I mean, really. So, okay, well, this is what you're getting then. You're going to get the Transformers version of The Mummy.
And you can't sit there and say, oh, some of these small directors, they don't know how to do big franchises. Again, if you look at...
The Insidious director did Doctor Strange.
Right.
Scott Derrickson.
Yeah, I mean, here's the other thing, too. So Creed, which was directed by Ryan Coogler, right? He's doing the new Black Panther. Creed's a fucking Rocky movie.
Yeah,
it
is.
There's a franchise for you. And
Yeah.
what did he do? It was amazing what he did.
I thought it was a really good movie.
He made a Rocky movie without making a Rocky movie.
Right.
But
Rocky's in it a lot.
Rocky's in it. He's this old man. He's battling like Ryan B. And
I remember in an interview too, it was Ryan Coogler's the director's name. He said look, Rocky's in the movie. He's not window dressing. He's part of this film.
He's in it.
Yeah.
And the main fighting takes place with Michael B. Jordan. So we cast this young actor that was amazing. That was had bit parts in The Wire, and then was really good on Friday Night Lights. Then was like Fruitvale Station is an amazing film, and it should have got more Oscar traction.
Right.
If you haven't seen it, it's really powerful. And then Creed was like it was one of the most heartfelt Rocky movies since the first one.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of director you need to get. Alex Kurtzman is a Transformers producer.
And writer.
Oh, boy.
Well, writer is used loosely.
He knows how to use a keyboard.
Right.
But yeah, this film is just like, I'm like, why are we going through this whole fucking process?
And it just really feels like just old model of like, get the guys who made a lot of money on these other movies, don't, just put it together, get a giant star, make it a big spectacle, a lot of special effects scenes. We're just drifting from one set piece to the next. Don't worry about putting it together. Just shoot it, get it out, and we're a summer movie.
Oh, I know what I wanted to say. The only showing that was available was 3D.
Oh.
Waste.
Wow.
100% waste. Useless.
Even when The Crows came out?
Nothing. They didn't even come at you that much. It was dumb. It was that bullshit 3D that I can't stand.
Tacked on.
It's tacked on. It's again the thing I've talked about is
it's like the script was in 3D.
Oh God. But then you go see like Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that.
Doctor Strange 3D was really good.
3D. They used the 3D to help tell the story, to bring you to those other universes,
right.
to show you how different it is from where the real world and the other universes or whatever. What were you going to say, Aaron?
Oh, I had nothing. Now, wait a minute. Okay, so let me ask this. I found a theater in my neighborhood that shows movies for half price. Is this worth it?
If you are like bored, really
mostly.
nothing to do, it's 100 degrees out, your air conditioning breaks, it's like that. Those are the circumstances you need to be in.
All right.
You're
in lieu of HVAC.
Yes.
Your neighborhood's sealed off because there's a hostage crisis and you can't get into your apartment.
Entirely possible.
Entirely possible. Then I would go see this movie.
Then it's Mummy. That's only if It Comes at Night isn't playing.
It feels like something I might stop watching while on a plane.
Right, like turn it off. Like, I don't have time
come
for this.
on.
I'm landing in an hour. I'm going to start something else.
I'd rather read.
Right.
That's what it feels like. It's that movie.
So, and interesting too. I'd love to hear like It also felt like too many cooks in the kitchen. Like, how many hands were on this? Everything from studio executives to Tom Cruise to, the 4 or 5 writers that are even credited, which means, that, as Mick was saying, which means that was probably more.
There's 6 between screen story and screenplay. There are 6 writers credited.
Wow, yeah. So that means there was a bunch more on top of that. So that's always a good sign. The more writers, the better the story.
Yeah. It's
there's nothing like having a non-coherent vision to really help a film.
They don't. Yeah, I don't understand. It
is kind of telling that on IMDb, Alex Kurtzman has no upcoming directorial projects.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sad. Yeah.
Well, that's at least that's positive. Something that might come out of this.
Yeah, if he's not allowed to direct anymore. So and here's some interesting stuff to talk about the universe and how they're just thinking about the universe versus a story. Javier Bardem, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, #JGL, Tom Hardy, and Eddie Redmayne were all considered to play Dr. Henry Jekyll before Russell Crowe was cast.
And which also means those are all completely different actors, which
Right.
means there was no vision as to what this character would
None.
be.
They just said, give us big name for
Right.
Jekyll.
Yeah, exactly.
Bardem has now been cast as Frankenstein's monster, which
Him I can kind of see as Frankenstein's monster.
he's a really interesting actor. It could
he
be
might
cool,
do something different.
but he's going to do different what? Within the context of some stupid script written by 15 people?
Yeah, I don't know. If he's maybe Bride of Frankenstein, maybe we'll see.
And then, there's a zero gravity scene, and that took 64 takes and was shot in 2 days in a falling plane. And they said reportedly a lot of the crew got nauseous during the scene and vomited, except for the main stars Tom Cruise and Annabelle Wells, who were really proud of the stunt. That sounds like some great
PR tag.
Publicist made that up. There's no way Tom Cruise didn't vomit.
Yeah.
And my guess is they had the writers up on that plane and made them do zero gravity until they vomited up this nonsensical script.
So in essence, I think we're saying is if you haven't seen this movie, good on you. That's well done. You've dodged a bullet. We always get that one really bad movie per summer. I really thought it was going to be Chips or Baywatch, but I think it's going to be The Mummy. I think The Mummy is going to be the worst movie of the summer.
Yeah, because I think Chips or Baywatch will have at least 1 or 2 scenes that make you laugh.
Right.
The rest of it will be dumb.
Right.
They'll have 1 or 2 scenes. That wasn't bad, or that one comedic actor kind of was funny. You'll have something like that maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But this the trailer. Yeah, it was everything as dumb as I thought it was going to be.
I don't know. You kind of sold me on it a little bit. Well, I thought it was didn't look that good at first, but then you were saying, it could be good. It's like an action kind of Mission Impossible mummy movie, and then I was thinking, you know what? Maybe Graham's right. Maybe it'll be.
Did I say that?
Yeah. You kind of got me a little bit more
I'm
on board with
redacting
it.
that.
Yeah.
I'm redacting that. I cannot confirm or deny, Chris, any of those remarks. I have no recollection of ever saying stuff like that about the Mummy.
So, but yeah, this was a piece of shit. This movie.
Yeah, it was. Well, here's the thing, and we've talked about this before. When it comes to Tom Cruise and big budget, it could be fun. I mean, you never know when you're gonna get something interesting from him. Like the let's go through some of the movies that he's come out. Like we've been talking about American Made. That trailer looks interesting.
Right.
That actual guy, right?
Is there going to be another Mission Impossible movie?
Oh,
for sure.
Yeah.
And Jack Reacher.
And it's MI6. There's a Top Gun in pre-production.
Wow.
We're bringing back Mav.
I can't.
Oh, I hope he's a teacher.
I hope. Well,
can't do it.
Here's a great idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Edge of Tomorrow. That was the really cool movie that
Right.
he did, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jack Reacher, as I said, is just fun. Punch 'em up, dummies.
Right.
Here's the Top Gun Maverick I want to see. he got shot down in the Middle East, and he's old, cagey, PTSD, prisoner of war maverick, and he's got to find his Top Gun again or something like that. You know, like he's got to get his swagger.
He's and he has to fight a Russian boxer.
Yes, and he trains in Russia in Siberia.
In snow?
Yeah, with a log on his back. Rising up.
I would see that movie. Yeah.
But I don't know.
You think there's going to be a Risky Business sequel now too?
Yeah, what is that one?
That would be if it took place like a year after the original, and he's his age now.
Yeah.
I think that would be hilarious.
That would be.
They never address him.
Yeah.
They
just 55.
Oh wow, rough
Playing
summer.
17.
Yeah. I guess you didn't get into Yale.
Yeah, Harvard could use a guy like Joel. Yeah, because here's the thing, then there's like Oblivion, which, all right, that was a miss.
That was a miss, but I will say
An
this.
interesting miss.
An interesting miss, and also amazing production design on that film.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way it looked was fantastic.
Yeah. And then you've got, Tropic Thunder. Okay, when he does stuff like that. Valkyrie, it's kind of a miss. But then, this business, I don't know. You never know with this dude. Like, he hasn't made a Last Samurai type thing in quite a while.
He could use one.
He could use one. And I think
They're casting Matt Damon now. I mean,
I know. Yeah, Matt Damon is defending the Chinese dragons.
Yes.
So
Great Wall.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, and they so set this up as
This is the launch. This
is the launch, and the end of the movie was he's this undead superhero that's going to come back in all
Right.
of these movies.
That's
Who
what
the
it-
fuck is he?
Yeah, that's what it looked like. Oh, now he's got all these powers, and
Is
yeah,
this
he's
a character that
superhero.
existed somewhere else?
So, no, only in Tom Cruise's house. This is it. This is it. Yeah, he's got mummy powers, but he's still a guy. So, but he's got like super mummy powers.
And he's got his sidekick,
Yep, that he can keep bringing back to life whenever he wants.
Steve's on light.
Yep.
should we be combing through L. Ron Hubbard novels for this?
Yeah, that's where this is. That's where the sequel is this. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd rather see a Sahara sequel than
Or Ishtar.
Yeah, I'd like to see Ishtar.
So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Like if they have a connected universe, I guess we're gonna see Russell Crowe and Tom Cruise in a movie again.
I don't want to watch it.
I don't know if he's gonna be a monster fighter or he's gonna turn into a mummy. Like what's
Isn't
gonna
he?
happen?
Isn't he part mummy?
Yeah, now he's
or-
part mummy and part Set. He's part god of death, and but he's still Tom Cruise, and he has superpowers, but still, he's riding into the desert on a horse. So
like the end of the Last Crusade.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
they
it's
just-
like he's
what,
still- he's
what
still
movie
looking-
didn't they steal shit from?
yeah, still
There's a
looking for
great
treasure.
question.
Yeah, exactly. Like there was a piece of everything in this movie. But it's like if you're gonna steal it correctly. You're stealing the pieces that you're using incorrectly. So I don't know. I think we've exhausted all the ways that this movie has failed.
Aaron, final thoughts on what you'd like to see the Dark Universe do in the universe of the dark, of the universal darkness.
I mean, somebody get Brendan Fraser on the phone.
Yeah, he's got to be going nuts right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, he's like, see, mine weren't
I-
so bad.
Mine were all right.
Yeah, even the third Mummy with Jet Li was better than this one.
Remember the Beatles?
Yeah.
What
He's
would
like,
you?
He's like, I brought you the Rock, the Scorpion.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, with the Scorpion King in the second one.
Where can these? Let's ask this question before we wrap this up. Where can this dark universe go? Can it do anything interesting? Is this just its first miss, or are they just doomed to fail because who gives a shit about this universe? And it hasn't been interconnected for the better part of 6 decades.
Well, here's where here's where it should go. They should be horror movies.
Right.
Is if you're gonna have a dark universe of Universal horror monsters,
Make them dark.
Yeah, make them actually darker movies that are actually have some horror elements to them. This one was an action movie with some mummy/zombies in it. So yeah, make them more horrific. If you're gonna make them action adventure, then then do them correctly, like the Brendan Fraser first Mummy movie. That was a fun action adventure serial movie. This fell in this no man's land of neither. It wasn't horror. It wasn't good action. It wasn't fun. It wasn't any of those things. So I think if they're going to course correct, make them a little more disturbing and dark, and maybe get Clive Barker back on the phone and have him do one of these. Because I would love to see somebody's take on these classic characters, like even Creature from the Black Lagoon. Let's see something interesting, like some kind of Anaconda take on that. There could be something darker, and even if it's campier, give us something interesting. This was none of those things.
Yeah. Attempting all of them.
Yes, attempting
but
all of them.
achieving none of them.
Yeah, pretty much. But I'd like to see, if I had a choice, I'd like to see them go darker and make actual monster movies again.
Aaron?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like the Mummy worked, the first Mummy worked as well because it was set in a time where it was set back in the 30s or 40s, like when something like that could happen. And
when those movies were originally actually being made, that era of film.
Yeah, the serials.
It seems hard to believe that they could get all these different monsters or whatever in a modern world and not have the rest of the world freak out about it.
Right.
Like, it's always been the problem with Sharknado and things like that, where it's like you can see into the background people not reacting to what's happening in the foreground.
Right.
Because when you later the special effects, they don't know that they're there.
Yeah. So I feel like that's another issue you could run into with a larger franchise like this. I mean, I don't blame them for trying, because all Universal has is Fast and Furious, and that's it.
Right. Yeah, they don't have a lot. They have a great library that they're just not utilizing.
Yeah.
But I agree. Like, that would be, I don't ever see them doing this, but I agree, Chris, what you said is, I would love it if they went, okay, we're bringing back the big budget horror movie.
Right.
And we're getting in horror directors and horror writers, and it's going to be big budget scary. The way when you were a kid and you went to the movies and you screamed out loud. And
it was scary.
It was scary.
Mm-hmm.
And you had real monsters, and you could, now with the special effects and everything, you could, because the stories of Dracula and Frankenstein and the Mummy, they're actually...
Let Sam Raimi make one.
Yeah, somebody, or any of these low-budget horror directors that we keep talking about, like any of them, give them a crack at this, and give them $50 to $100 million and make a good story, and have like a writer-director or somebody or adapt
a vision.
A vision.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would love to see that. That would be actually. Then I would be like, yeah, it is a dark universe. They're just trying to do everything that they're chasing.
Right. Chasing a trend, which never works.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think we've trashed this movie enough because it's exhausting.
So the full video of this will be up on, we'll give this all to YouTube, the full videos.
Did we do our HelloFresh ad?
We have not done our HelloFresh ad.
Oh, my gosh. Then we are not done.
We are not done, folks. Buckle up for some great recipes.
So,
sent right to your house.
They are. HelloFresh is a great sponsor. We've been having them for a while. We use it personally. We get the family pack every week, and it's great. And also, everything's cheaper now because all the meals are less than $10 each. So for us, that's a family of 4. It's less than $10 a person. It's cheaper than going out. The food is better, and it's also really, really well nutritionally proportioned. Like, there's going to be a vegetable, there's going to be a protein, there's going to be everything that you need in a good meal, and it's not going to be too hard to make.
Well, the thing too I love is
excuse me,
I don't know that I have the time or the patience to go to the store and get all these real specific ingredients.
Yes, exactly.
I just kind of don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I cook sort of very on a basic level. So, but when this stuff is sent, when I get, then I have these amazing meals that I was like, wow, this is so good. And it didn't take me 3 hours to make.
Right. These can be made in like 45 minutes around there. So, but one of the things too is we love giving you guys deals. So guess what? We're not going to make you pay full price. You want your you want your first box cheaper. You got it. All you got to do is go to HelloFresh.com. Use the coupon code ComedyFilmNerds30. You get $30 off your first week of HelloFresh. Just visit HelloFresh.com and enter ComedyFilmNerds30.
Boom.
So the other thing I like about them, I wanted to mention too, is that like if you're going on vacation or you want to just stop and you want to just cook for a couple weeks on your own, you can stop the service and then restart it. It's really flexible that way, which is really good because if we go away or whatever, we can stop and we're like, oh man, we've got food coming. What do we do?
You don't want to waste it.
Yeah, exactly. So so you can stop and start it at any time as well.
I love HelloFresh.
HelloFresh.com.
And guys, that's another great way to support the show. When if you any of these products you really like, when you use our coupon code or our landing page, they track that and they know, oh wow, Comedy Film Nerd fans. So they're
getting them some HelloFresh.
They're getting them some HelloFresh, so then they'll buy more ad reads from us.
Yes.
Boom. Circle of life.
Yes.
That's the Comedy Film Nerd's dark universe.
Yeah, that is. Hello, Mummy.
Oh, Mummy. Why would you do that?
So, that's actually, it made me thinking now, too, like what you were saying about what I'd like to see in a, like what are the other classic Universal monster movies? I think a new werewolf movie would be really cool.
Wouldn't it be interesting, too? Because when the way those movies were made, they were touching on some pretty heavy themes.
Yes.
Frankenstein, werewolf, Dracula. They were all like, I mean, sure, they were scary and they were groundbreaking at the time because it was the motion pictures had just started.
Right.
But you could really go into that.
Like the transformation to the Wolfman was like, at the time, was like groundbreaking. I mean, now, you got to look at it with an understanding contemporary lens. Like, this was at the time, this was cutting edge. But you could see stuff like the atmosphere and the way they were shot and just the way the black and white in the cinematography, they were shot like horror movies.
Well, they started the genre. I mean, Universal started it. They should be doing this correctly. And so, I mean, you think about like the Frankenstein story. That was, that's a sad, tragic story.
Yeah.
And it's not. My fear is they're just gonna have Javier Bardem running around going, and then they're gonna,
fire.
Yeah, and they're gonna have a bunch of special effects, and something's gonna blow up. Versus the first of all, it's like you're not God. Don't mess with Mother Nature was the theme, and then you created this monster who's treated the towns. He just wants love and affection, right? Like he just wants a dad. Like he has all those human needs, and the town burns him. Like those are a pretty powerful themes.
And Bride of Frankenstein too.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's a little more going on there, and you have these tragic, monstrous figures. And
that's the other thing. They were all tragic characters. This is filmmaking that was done after the Depression, as America was trying to find itself. It was a unique part in history. The film industry was brand new. So it was all these people just like, let's try this. And touching on really intense themes.
Yeah, the werewolf is like alcoholism.
Yeah.
It's like you go out at night and shit happens. You come home and like, what?
Yeah, why are my hands all bloody?
Exactly. Oh man, that's a great thing. The Creature from the Black Lagoon. They're all just treated like freaks, and it's like anyone that's felt different, that is ostracized by society, can identify with these movies. There's not one goddamn thing to identify with in The Mummy. If they went back to the original, we've talked about this a lot on this show. I'm all down with a remake or a reboot when you do something interesting
or creative.
Creative, or you utilize storytelling in a way that you could, not just technology, but how you were restricted by the Motion Picture Guild or code or whatever.
Right.
That
the Hays Code.
The Hays Code that you don't have as much. You don't even really have that today. You can say you can touch on it.
You could make the Clive Barker's Mummy.
Yeah. And how great would that be? So, I don't know. That's what I'd like to see.
So I hope Universal learns a little bit from this, and that the next movie in the quote dark universe is more interesting. And I think Bride of Frankenstein, I have probably the most hopes for that one.
I don't have any hope.
I can't argue with that though. That's fair enough.
I barely have hope for the next DC movie, as great as Wonder Woman was. So I don't know.
Well, it's Justice League, so yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I am excited for the Top Gun movie. I want to know I want to see what Maverick's doing in 2017.
What's going on?
Come on,
What's
Mav.
happened?
Come on, it's been 30 years,
Is he still in his flight suit?
Is he still mourning over Goose? Goose died.
Yeah, I know.
Spoiler alert, Goose died in the first one. All right, thank you to Aaron Brungardt on the ones and twos at the ATC studio here in beautiful Burbank. My name is Graham Elwood.
And I'm Chris Mancini, and thank you once again for supporting the Patreon. We appreciate this. This is because of you we're able to do these extra episodes. So please go support it, like 5, 10, 1, 2, whatever you have. It will help.
And we, the audio on this will be released early on Patreon, and it'll be available for everybody on iTunes Thursday the 15th.
Done. But you already know that because you're listening to it.
You're listening to it. So you understand why you're listening to this, right? Unless it mysteriously just appeared in your ears, which it could. Dark
universe. You never know.
All right, we'll try to wrap up one more time. I'm Graham Elwood.
I'm Chris Mancini. And as always, remember
Han shot first. Dark universe.
Han shot first.